Welcome to the Be That Healing Girl podcast. And on this episode, we're going to talk about the 3 mistakes you're making that make you second guess a secure relationship. So, this episode is really going to land for you if you are with somebody, a person, or in relationship with somebody that's really loyal, right? They are consistent, they are a safe person, but you are over there in your head, second guessing everything, waiting for the other shoe to drop, and you are just a big ball of anxiety because you're just in your own head versus actually enjoying the person that makes you feel safe. So if that lands with you, then you're going to be in a really great spot. And one of the things that I know is that if we keep making these mistakes, what I know it ends up impacting in your relationship is that it's like taking 2 steps forward and then 1 step back. It can often feel like this push pull in a relationship. And for me, even I feel this very visceral feeling like if you're trying to drive stick shift, is that manual, and you're just moving forward and back and just can't get it together because you're actually trying to drive with your right foot on the gas and your left foot on the brake. And if that is how you drive, please revisit that. But it's going to feel really herky-jerky. It's not going to feel good. And one thing that I'm super proud of in my community with the Healing Girl Gang, this is exactly what we're diving into for the month of October 2025. It's all about how do you stop the second guessing and really build solid self-trust. But let's dive into it. And if you're new here, my name is Claire. I love helping girlies as a relationship coach that are high achievers. You are either in the corporate office, you got the corner office, and you're climbing the corporate ladder, or you've got some letters behind your name, like a PhD, MD, Esquire, or maybe you're an entrepreneur. I've actually had the pleasure of talking and working with girlies who are building a legacy business, or you've built a successful business, or you have multiple businesses. And while on paper, your resume stands out above the crowd, in your private life, in your relationship, you are struggling with feeling at peace with a good partner. You are anxiously attached. You are struggling with spiraling every 2 seconds, or maybe 2 days or 2 weeks. For me, it really was dependent on what was happening. But if that is you, then you're going to really love this podcast and this episode. And if you are enjoying any podcast episode here, then leaving a 5-star review means so much. It takes 2 seconds on Spotify or Apple. And it means, like, for me, it means that you're giving me the high five through your earbud. So thank you for doing that ahead of time. But before we get into the mistakes, I have some updates. Also, I'm noticing that my Benadryl is kicking in. So if I am really stuttering or saying things again, if you didn't know this about the podcast, I do not edit it. It's one shot. I sit down for the most part, and this is what you get. So stutters and all, because I really do believe this, not just in my life and in your life, but in a relationship. It's about being imperfect. It's part of the brand. So if you notice that, welcome. Welcome to my world. But some updates. So before my husband and I landed back at our property, for 3 years, we traveled in an RV full time. It was crazy town. And if you have been following me for a while, you might have noticed like the scenery's changed a little bit where I do my stories or content. And it is because we were traveling in an RV, and it was truly such a special chapter for Craig and I. I am not going to lie. We had some apprehension about I'll be honest, he had apprehension about us being together all the time. In fact, I loved it. And also, it was kind of like getting under my skin a little bit at a certain point, but we were in close quarters. It really pushed us to navigate our dynamic, our old dynamic of being anxious, me being anxiously attached, him being avoidant, how we navigated needing space, how we navigated our tough conversations. If you've ever wanted to get in a good fight with your partner, try to navigate your entire home as you travel across the country. So all that being said, we officially found a buyer for our sweet tiny home, and we're selling her. We literally sold her yesterday, but we're taking her to her new home in a couple days this weekend. And it just feels so different, and it feels partly like a relief, also partly really sad. Honestly, when I FaceTimed the buyer, I was crying because it held such special memories for Craig and I. In fact, one of our traditions now is that Thanksgiving is all about me and him. P.S. Like, that was Craig's decision. I'm like, we're with your family. We're back in Colorado. Don't you want to spend Thanksgiving with your family? And he basically was like, I really love our tradition. And truly shocking to me that he wanted to keep that tradition, but it's what's happening. So as you can see, it's really sentimental to me and to both of us. And it was also such a great example of how different we are, how our dynamics are just different. Craig is very steady. I mean, when he stopped teaching, he was a teacher for Boulder County School District for 15 years. He is very steady and very focused and very linear, and I am not. I am creative, and I'm a dreamer. I am a little impulsive. So it just is such a beautiful expression to move on to this different chapter, and also seeing how it was such a wonderful place for us to really get to a deeper level in our relationship. But just a little update in case you see some stories on my Instagram that's what's happening. But another thing that I think is also exciting to share, I've been incorporating this in the podcast, but like giving out some shout outs to my one-on-one clients. And I honestly, this week, I have to say there's been 2 of them. And one of them, we'll call her client Kay. Kay came onto a one-on-one coaching session, and she basically told me that her very avoidant partner, and I am not really one to just say that. Like, he definitely has. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a counselor, but he exhibits definite traits of somebody who has problems with intimacy and connection. Definitely needs his space. But she basically told me, since we've been working together really intensely for the past, I don't know, 6-9 months, but that he came to her and they're trying to get pregnant and they're doing this whole embryo journey together. And he basically said that he really is wanting to get engaged, and they're looking at rings, and it just is. And I'm not trying to celebrate that part. Like, I think marriage is, there's a whole podcast I could do about what I think about marriage and how disillusioned we are these days with, like, that's the end destination. But what I would say for the both of them is that it's a huge marker of how much she has invested, like literally walked the walk, not just talk the talk, into her own self-trust, how to self-soothe herself, really understanding her own very specific self-protection mechanisms that get in the way of connection. So super proud of her. I also just want to give a shout out to my client, S. It's her birthday today. I'm going to send her a message, but truly seeing her grow and navigate a breakup, navigate understanding herself, and coming out the other side being super gracious, super loving, even though she's in the thick of it, not spiraling, is really powerful. So super, super proud of you, honey, and happy birthday today. Okay, let's dive in, shall we? Let's talk about the mistakes that you're making that are making you second guess with a safe and secure person. And as I was taking some notes and putting this episode together, I was really thinking about my own experience. And I didn't realize until my anxious attachment got really intense. And for me, I basically navigated my 20s and my 30s not feeling anxiously attached. And now looking back, the reason I didn't feel that way was because I was always in control. The guys were always coming after me. I was engaged once. I got close 2 more times. And I really always kind of felt like I had the upper hand. And that's a protection thing. I did that because I wanted to feel safe. And the moment that things were getting a little too real, I would just blow that bitch up. So I definitely can recognize there's a clear shift. Had a big breakup with a really, I don't use this terminology often, toxic relationship. And I take it back. I don't want to say toxic. It was an opportunity for me to see where I held myself back, where I really got to see my own wounds. And I called in the perfect person to put it in my face and have me look at it super clearly. But when I think about these mistakes that I went through myself, I really wanted to use this time to share it with you so that you can see what to look for. Look for the things that you keep doing in your life that are maybe getting in the way of a great partner or potential partners, because when we can identify these mistakes, we can start to take the action to change them. So let's get into it. The first mistake is definitely what I would call like prepping for the pain. Okay, prepping for the pain. And that can look like just constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're just trying to navigate and scope things out. You're triple, quadruple checking multiple times a day on what they're doing or their Instagram, whatever. And the thing that I've noticed with that is a big mistake is that their consistency or how they're showing up for you, the kindness or the loyalty they are showing to you is not getting recognized. Okay. And so it is, as we're just kind of like prepping, and I like to think of this as like doom prepping, right? Where we got our basement, our bunker, and we're just buying, 15 pounds of oatmeal, 10 pounds of coffee, more like 50 pounds of coffee. But it's like we're just constantly doom prepping, and we're prepping. We're stocking up on stewed tomatoes because we are so scared of what we feel is going to be the end of the world. And the problem with that is that we end up with 10 pounds of potatoes or tomatoes or whatever that are gonna go bad because we have been overstocking them. And also, if you are putting all your time and energy into doom prepping, into prepping for the breakup, prepping for the betrayal, then you end up missing out, number one, on the actual relationship that's right in front of you. Or not only that, we create the doomsday because we are not connected in the moment. We're not able to be present. We can't enjoy the movie. We can't enjoy the weekend away in the mountains because we are just constantly doom prepping. And the irony again is that in the prepping for the pain, we cause pain. So that was a mistake that I was doing constantly. To me, this also happened, it seemed like whether it was every week on Monday or every 2 weeks, it kind of like would build up this prep and it would blow up in my face. We would get into some kind of fight, some kind of misunderstanding, and it felt like it just was, we were on this roller coaster and cycle of misery. So that the first mistake is that you are prepping for the pain. The second one is that you're treating your relationship like a project to be managed. And some of you are actual project managers. You are managing big teams or big projects, lots of money underneath it. But the problem with treating like a relationship like a project is your relationship is not a project, okay? So for example, their kindness, there's terminology, the bids that they're giving you, they're giving you bids of connection and attention, that when they're giving them to you, they're calling you, they're texting you, or whatever kindness you're interpreting, you're not actually seeing it as kindness, right? It's not registering to you as kindness. Whether they send you the text or they spend the weekend with you, these become data points, right? You're seeing interaction and your connections as data points to be analyzed. And when you're doing that, you're like, okay, well, he called me 3 times on this week, but he called me once this other week because he's out of town. So instead of looking at these ways that are trying to show up for you, these become the data points. And so if you are more data oriented, if you're more of a logical girly, this tends to happen to you a lot. And instead of seeing this as kindness or as ways they're trying to connect with you, you are so focused on the data points that you start to look for the flaws or the inconsistency, right? You become obsessed with the data points and oh, okay, 3 times they texted, no emoji the other day. Are they mad at me? And when we're doing that, the big mistake of treating your relationship like a project to be managed is you start to become proactive with the rejection. You proactively reject a great partner or a good partner because you are constantly looking for flaws and data points or inconsistencies that support your own beliefs around, do I deserve a good relationship? Am I worthy of a relationship? So that's the second mistake. The third mistake that I see often, and I've experienced, is we tend to outsource the trust in the relationship. And this is also why in the Healing Girl Gang, I build in an implementation day, because self-trust can sound very esoteric, but in my world, I'm a very like tangible, practical girly. One of the things that we do in the Healing Girl Gang, specifically with implementation day, it's all about how do you implement self-trust? Like, what are the tangible ways you do that? But for the sake of this podcast, when we are outsourcing our trust in the relationship, and we're relying on them to show up in a certain way, or we're waiting for their actions to determine how safe we feel. One of the things that is a big impact is that we start to create a routine, right, that revolves around our partner. We're constantly checking their status. We're checking the texts. We're checking their how many followers they have. P.S. I think that's a new thing. I did not have the time or energy or space to stalk that deeply, but I feel like this is like a new thing where you're looking at their status. You're looking at how many follows, who they follow. So the mistake is that you are mistaking your surveillance, like whether that's surveilling their mood or the vibe or literally surveilling them, y'all. I love you. If you're doing that, whew, let's have a conversation, okay? But you are mistaking your surveillance in the relationship and checking what they're doing as dedication. I will just straight up admit that that's what I did all the time. I was like, I am so dedicated. I am so loyal, and I'm going to constantly see, okay, when is he going out of town? Like, let me help him. And really I was disguising my surveillance and my insecurity as dedication and loyalty. So the three, again, mistakes: prepping for the pain, treating the relationship like a project, and mistaking your surveillance as dedication, right? To me, those are all connected to self-trust. And the bottom line here is, one of the big ways this impacts us, this impacts you, is that you probably will feel emotionally fatigued. And not only are you feeling emotionally fatigued, but they're feeling emotionally fatigued, right? So imagine you're treating your relationship like a project to be managed. They don't want to feel like they're coming up for a performance review every week. Every time on Sunday after the weekend, you have this grievance to bring up because you have been collecting data and all the things they did right and wrong. That's not going to feel good. And I'm just going to say right now, this was like so deep inside my unconsciousness. I guarantee some of you are feeling so attacked right now. And I want to say good that you're feeling like I'm seeing right into that, because this is your opportunity to do something different, right? Because we don't want our partner to feel like we're giving them a performance review, that this is a pass or fail test. Because when we do that, when we're treating everything like like a plan or a project, or we're surveilling them, that leaves no room in the relationship for joy. There is no room in the relationship for spontaneity, for connection. And I know you want that. It's so contradictory. You want to feel joy and spontaneity, but you don't trust yourself, and it shows up like you don't trust them. But really, this is about you in the relationship. And that's kind of why you're at where you're at. So I totally get that. It's also the whole reason why I made the Healing Girl Gang, where if you are stuck in this cycle and you want it to stop, how you get out of that is having a process, right? And while I love giving no gatekeeping here on the podcast, understanding the process and doing it takes practice. That's why we do it as a community, because yes, we can think or know the play for the basketball event. What am I trying to say? We know the play that we want to execute on the court, but you can't just do that in your head. You can't just listen to a podcast and expect change. You got to actually practice it. So that's what we do in the Healing Girl Gang. And speaking of that, in the Healing Girl Gang, I give them opportunity. There's multiple places that you get support there, but they can also ask a question and I answer it here on the podcast. So Katie D says, I've been single for a few years. I've been trying to date and have had a bunch of short-term relationships. And it feels like I can't gain traction with anyone. When do I start to like someone? When I do start to like someone, they leave, often because they have some inner issue not related to me going on. They tell me over and over that it's not me, that I'm great, and I can't help feeling like there's something wrong with me. I totally feel that. I know my anxiety and fear drives my relationships sometimes, and I'm working on it. Duh, she's in the Healing Girl Gang. How do I feel more confident someone will accept me when I've been let down so many times? Whew, I just feel that so deeply. And the first thing that I want to say is, okay, when a good friend of mine, she was in my wedding, she said this to me, and when she said it to me, I felt like the dagger in my heart. It was like the best but worst burn that I needed to hear. And I was teaching yoga at the time, and she was teaching yoga too. And I was behind the desk, and I was on whatever dating app. And this guy, like, it was working out in my mind, and same thing. It was like, it's not me, it's not you, it's me. And he just basically was done. And I was sharing with her about this guy, and she'd seen me in this phase of dating, and she just looked at me and she straight up said, "Your picker is broken." And I was like, I'm laughing at it now, but it was the thing that I needed to hear. And I think what's landing for me right now and why I can laugh about it is I was interpreting it as I was broken. And Katie, I'm hearing you identify that something is wrong with you when you are not. And let me just be super clear. If you are listening to this podcast, if you are in my community, if you are following me on anything, you are whole and perfect. You listening, watching right now, you are whole and perfect. I hope you really feel me and my conviction and my certainty in that. You are whole and perfect. And at the same time, your picker, the thing that is how you're making your choices, how you are making your choices, how you're even selecting your people. Because there's a pattern, there's a common denominator here, Katie. You out there listening, there's a common denominator. And it doesn't mean that you are broken. It's how you're selecting these people. And I just know that there's many layers to this of how you feel secure, how you feel safe, your own self-esteem, your own confidence. It is easy to think that something's wrong with you when your picker just might be broken. How you're choosing people to date, how you're selecting them. And you can tell because you're in a pattern. And when I say there's a common denominator, I love you. And I'm going to also be real with you that it's how you're choosing things. And so, and I will also say on a deep healing level, if you feel like you are broken or there's something wrong with you, that's the place to start. It's recognizing and realigning with the only truth that's out there, that is you are whole and perfect. You are whole and perfect. Anything else that your mind is saying right now, you're like, okay, Claire, great, whatever. That's the lie. That is the lie. That voice that says something's wrong with you, you got to do better, you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, like that is the fucking lie. I don't cuss often on here, but that's the fucking lie, right? You truly are whole and perfect, and it's aligning with that truth that sets you up to the partner that I know is out there for you, okay? I know there's a partner out there. There's billions of people out there. There's a partner out there for you. So it's not a matter of there's nobody out there. It's a matter of you aligning and thinking, feeling, choosing, behaving, creating the reality around the only truth that you are whole and perfect. And if you're like, okay, Claire, great, how? Make sure you come to the trainings, okay? Make sure you get your ass in the trainings. Make sure you show up in the overthinking detox, right? Those daily actions. Make sure you get your ass to the implementation days, because I will break it down for you, okay? You're here in the Healing Girl Gang. I see you. I love you. And I also just want to say that to you, if you are listening, you are whole and perfect. Do not get it fucking twisted. All right. I love you so much. Mwah.